This is an Akila Aipa, and is of course from Hawaii, the famous Aipa family. Ben actually helped Mark Richards develop his twin fin in the early days. They're famous for the stinger, which is where the board goes from wide to skinny. And in this case, there's a little bit of historical heritage passed down to Akila, who's a son of Ben. It's got a nice sort of bump squash tail. You've seen this tail in lots of boards since, like the Christensen lane splitter. The flat earth was pretty much developed off this template, is my understanding of it. A little bit of history. I'm going to read this panel here. This one was made for me. It says for James. It's 6'2", 20 3/4, 2 15/16, twin +1, and it was made in September 2019, which makes this board 6 years old. And I've surfed it a dozen times or so. It's 37.93 litres. To get this board, quite a story. I actually had to contact Akila. There was a little bit of back and forth. I'd seen a post on Stab saying that if you get in touch, he'll make you a board. And so I did, and he made the board. And I actually had to go to Sydney Airport and pick it up from a flight steward who'd put it into a board bag for the trip to Sydney. And that's when I got it. There is something unique about this board. Firstly, for its volume, it paddles way better than it should. Maybe because it's fairly flat rocketed. Also, let's just have a look at the bottom contour here. So in terms of the rocker, of course it's got a nice kick up in the nose here. So it just goes over whitewash, which is really nice. It's a fairly narrow nose. And if we look at the tail rocker, we can see that just here, it's got this little bit of flip in the tail as well. So that curve means at the front and the back that it actually turns really well. But let's look at what's happening with the bottom here. It starts off pretty flat, and then as you get down the board, we're going into a single concave, very mild single concave. And then it's still holding that single concave right down to the fins. Behind the fins, it's a double concave, and then at the back, it's a V. So this board at the double concave really only starts at the very back of the board, and then the V out the tail. I actually contacted Akila and I said, you know what, this board paddles better than it should. It really does paddle well. It's very fast. I've clocked a top speed on this. Because it's got a performance-y nose, I did actually put a tail pad on it. I probably wouldn't do that if I bought this board today because I don't use tail pads very often. Also, I love the rails on this. They're not too skinny in the middle part, which is where I need a bit of rail, but they are quite performance oriented. I've got it set up at the moment with these NVSC drives because I don't normally ride trailers, but if I am riding a trailer, I wanted to try it with these, and they were great. They have less surface area than some twin fins, but had lots and lots of hold. If you recognize this, that's because you will have seen it on early episodes of Jamie O'Brien, JOB. This is the board that he was riding in those river sessions. And at some point, I think he might have switched board brands, but he was riding this local Hawaiian produce. This is like a really wild looking board. It looks amazing on a wall, but it's even better in the surf. And I would encourage you to try contacting a shaper of any brand that you like and get something custom, and it will be a special board compared to just whatever you buy off the rack. So it's been one of my favorite boards. I'm wondering, do you have a special custom board from a shaper that has really stood out for you? Let me know in the comments below.